I was just gonna say this isn't a sponsored thing, but I'm drinking the Macallan tonight.
You say as I turn on the camera. Okay, and howdy everybody, and welcome to tonight's episode of the Faab Five Campaign here on Random Rhapsody. As always, we are live streaming here on twitch.tv first, and then we will have the episode uploaded onto YouTube and in podcast form 1 week later. Now, before we start things off, we do have an announcement to jump through, which is that this Wednesday, March 3rd, we will be having Random Rhapsody's first episode of our brand new series, Random Game Night, a live play series where members of the Random Rhapsody crew will be joined by friends and family of the show to play co-op style video games or game show games in a relaxed and casual format. This week, we will have a few players from both campaigns as well as a few friends of the show, and we will be playing Among Us and trying very hard to kill one another. It should be a really great time, and I know I'm looking forward to shooting a few of you guys out of an airlock. So we'll have some fun with that.
Is that going to be different than our Monday nights where you try to kill us, Matt?
Yeah, it is a little bit different because you guys now have the option and the availability to kill me too. So definitely try. I'm looking forward to you trying, and I'm looking forward to assassinating quite a few of you.
FYI, that's the first description I ever got of Among Us. Thank you.
Yeah, we Liam Kyle is a Among Us virgin. This is gonna be his first time playing it, but we're definitely gonna have a lot of fun with it. I guarantee that.
Have you ever played Mafia or Werewolves or any of those games?
If you're talking about a game on Steam, then no.
No, in person.
None
Each
of it,
person
none,
draws a card.
none of it rings a bell, no.
No, alright, well then I can't help you.
But anyway, we are gonna go ahead and jump right in. So without further ado, let's dive right back into tonight's episode of the Faab Five. When we last left off, the Faab Five had returned to the port town of Valena to complete their contract and to deliver an ancient relic known as the Dream Root to the Eurdite Conclave. With their mission a success, the group spent a well-earned night's rest in the familiar Singing Knave Tavern, followed by a delicious breakfast, which surprisingly included a familiar mead that the group had recovered from Faab Hollow. Perhaps the significance of the casks were lost somewhere in translation when you guys sold them. Who knows? But the group then next went off to Mitchell's Marvelous Mercantile to pay off yet another contract owed by Eloise and to do some bartering with the shop's eccentric owner. A few of you made some pretty good deals and traded away a few objects, gained a few more, and eventually the party moved on to the apothecary to make a few more purchases and request some training to become a better potion maker. So, now, Faab 5, with your bargaining at the apothecary now complete, it's probably around midday-ish at this point, and I forgot to tell you guys what the question was, so I apologize for that. Here on Random Rhapsody, what we do is at the beginning of each session, I have the characters roll a D100, which gives them a question that they must answer in character. The number for today was 41, and so the question that is kind of pressing on everybody's mind today is: a drug-addicted teen plans to kill you and is found guilty in court. According to local law, you get to decide their punishment. So, blood from a stone, since you are the one who rolled the dice, what punishment would blood from a stone choose? And we cannot hear you.
You said a drug-addicted teenager?
A drug-addicted teenager planned to kill you, but was caught and was found guilty in court. According to the law, you get to decide their punishment. So what would you choose?
Well, considering my nature, I would probably ask him what he was planning to do. See how he was going to kill me. If it was any good, I'd get him clean and train him to be an assassin. Then I'd just send him out doing jobs for me.
Interesting.
But if it was a terrible idea, I'd probably just kill him.
Interesting. Very interesting. Veil, how about you? What punishment would you choose?
Well, drug addicted or not, teenager or not, Veil would say, "You will serve me. Not now, but once you're dead."
Oh, do you guys remember that show Scared Straight?
Yes.
When they sent kids into
my God, so good.
Whole pocket.
Yeah, that sounds about what Veil's doing. Oh, anyway, that was good. I like that. Liam, you're up next. What kind of punishment would you choose for this kid?
Can you repeat the question? I got a phone call right when you started talking. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. The question was, a drug-addicted teenager planned to kill you, but was caught and found guilty in court. According to local law, you get to decide their punishment. So what punishment would you choose?
I'd probably send them to prison. Grow up a bit. Learn to kill a little better than that.
Okay. Sending him back into the prison system would definitely train him to be a better criminal. At least that's what studies have found. So, yeah, I got it. Apollyon, how about you?
The only way to curb a rambunctious young boy like that is hours of physical exercise. Getting him in top shape will take his mind away from all of those drugs and bad habits.
Indeed it will, Apollyon. Indeed it will. Buff him back into shape. I like it. Eloise, you're last up. What punishment would you choose?
Well, people don't just kind of fall into drug addiction. Like, there's usually reasons behind it. So I've tried to figure out why, and then, help with rehabilitation, and then help get them out of whatever the situation is that got them that had them fall into it in the first place, and help them stay out of that situation.
Rehabilitation. Interesting choice. Very on brand for Eloise. I like it. Okay. So, as you guys are kind of thinking on that and the moral choices that would allow you to make those kind of decisions, you guys are, as I said before, currently in the apothecary, Millie's apothecary, here in the port town of Loroupa. You've recently just negotiated an intense training session for Eloise to become a better potion maker, and she has decided to stay behind and work with the apothecary throughout the rest of the day. So, the rest of you, what are you guys wanting to do right now?
So, before I left the apothecary, I needed to purchase some herbs, incense, and charcoal. I'd say about 100 gold worth.
Okay, and she can do that for you, no problem. Being an apothecary and used to the magical sort, she does have a good assortment of fine herbs and incenses that you would need for your spellcasting, and as well as the charcoal and other things. So you can go ahead and put down that you purchased 100 gold worth of those items and mark that off on your character sheet.
All right, and as I do that, I pull out 100 gold, and I kind of look back and put it back in my pocket. Then I pull out 1,000 silver and kind of dump it on the counter and gather my things and walk away.
Oh, and as you dump this coins down onto the table, this poor woman is just trying to grab all of it and get it back onto the counter as it just spills down the side of the counter and onto the floor in front of her.
Could at least put it in a bag.
And she's kind of irritated as Veil picks up his incense and whatnot and walks away. And Eloise,
pick up the coins.
Eloise, you go running over and begin helping her scoop up all the coins, and she's just like, "What is wrong with your friend? Dumping money out like this."
Oh, an asshole.
It certainly is. You definitely have some interesting companions, my dear. No doubt about that. Oh my gosh. And she's just picking up all these coins and trying to count it and stack it up onto the shelf as she goes. What are the rest of you guys wanting to do?
Has it been an hour yet since we left Melvin's?
Oh yeah, it's been more than an hour.
Alright, that means I've got attuned to this belt of dwarven might.
Yep, you are now attuned to the Belt of Dwarven Kind.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So you do have some understanding of Dwarvish now, and you're feeling a little more hardy, a little more tough as you wear this big gleaming belt with a huge buckle in the middle of it.
That's right, the champ is back. I'll show Grovajar in that TLC rematch.
Yeah, you will. Okay. Is there anything else anybody's wanting to do today?
Yes. Although I do appreciate this longsword of mine that I got from Mr. Adam, I was just gifted another longsword, and there's really no need for two. I'd like to go back and see if I could trade it for something else.
Okay. You do remember that there was a dwarf who sold you the adamantium longsword. And when you guys were over there by Mitchell's, you did see that he was still there. So, leaving the apothecary, you head back in the direction of Mitchell's Marvelous Mercantil. And after about 30 minutes of walking, Liam, you do spot the little stall that the dwarf has. It's your fairly typical stall, really. Nothing more than a few tent posts to hold up a little burlap tent. It's very wide open, and in the center there's a little counter where a dwarf is currently sitting. Black hair, bald at the crown, long, greasy black beard, and there behind him you can see a good amount of different type of adamantine weapons. Armors and things of that nature.
Well, good day, sir. You see this here? Oh, sorry, let me wipe off some of this blood here. You see this longsword that has done me so much good? I came across one that I happen to prefer, and I was wondering if you might have something such as like a set of shuriken or some throwing stars, or maybe some one-handed throwing devices I could trade this here in for.
The dwarf kind of looks up at you, because he's a dwarf, and looks closer at the adamantine longsword that you hold out to him. He doesn't touch it. In fact, he pulls out a little jeweler's glass out from his pouch, fixes it into his eye, and leans forward, kind of examining and going down the blade as you hold it in front of him. After a few moments of examination, he leans back, takes the glass out of his eye. So you are wanting to return this to me and get some money back, or maybe trade it in? Is that what I'm understanding?
That was the hopes. This is where it came from. I figured if not in my hands, it belongs back here.
Well, I suppose I could give you a refund for it. You won't be getting back what you bought it for. It is used now. It has been dinged up a little bit. I see a few scratches along this blade, and not gonna lie, you didn't really clean it off too well, and I'm seeing quite a bit of blood along the edge of the handle here. However, I'm willing to give you 500 gold for it.
Now, what about just trading it straight up? What do you have that I could... Maybe some throwing stars or the such? They would be worth less than a longsword for sure.
Let's see how much shuriken and throwing stars cost. That's where it lies. Okay.
I thought this was a magical sword. I didn't think it'd get dinged up.
No, it's not a magical sword. It was
Oh,
an
okay.
adamantine longsword. So it's just made of metal. It had a +1 enhancement, but that's a natural enhancement due to the metal itself.
So it's really,
Yeah, shuriken themselves don't cost very much. So he is willing to sell you probably 100 gold a piece for the shuriken, because it's a small piece of adamantine metal, so you're not going to be using nearly as much. So you could get 5 of them in trade for the longsword.
Well, I gotta say, I'm quite partial to your wares. How about I throw in 100 gold and we make it an even 6?
I suppose I can do that for you, lad. And he takes the longsword from you and sets it down to the side, turns and searches through a couple boxes before he opens a small one, revealing half a dozen of these little metal stars. 4 blades, slightly curved on each end. Has a decent weight to them because it is adamantine, but as he hands them to you and you kind of heft them, you know that you can probably fling them fairly decently. So a shuriken, there isn't an actual rule for a shuriken that I'm really finding. I did find a homebrew that said it was 1d3 piercing damage. I'm just going to call it 1d4 piercing and leave it at that because it's an adamantine weapon.
The same thing as
like a
a
dagger.
yeah.
Yeah, it's basically, I'm going to call it the same damage as a throwing dagger. It's just 1d4 piercing for the adamantine shuriken.
Is it +1?
Yes, because it is adamantine, so I will allow that. 1d4 +1. Plus whatever your dex is, your dex modifier and whatnot.
Well, sure do appreciate it. You'll probably see me again sometime.
Always look forward to returning customers, so feel free to stop by anytime.
And I'll remember Apollyon talking to me in Dwarvish and shout back in Dwarvish as I leave, "Your beard is rather delightful, good man!" And just walk out the door.
And you hear the dwarf chuckling as you walk away. Thanks, laddie. You're not too bad yourself.
You got yourself a date.
Oh snap!
Blood told me to be more polite, and Apollyon reminded me to speak Dwarvish more often.
Okay. Is there anything else you guys are wanting to do?
Yeah, Blood gave us a strict lecture on it last time we went to the Conclave, which is where I'm going next.
That's right.
So...
Yeah, that's because that was the Conclave. That was something different.
Yeah, well, you didn't specify, so I'm trying. Yeah, I'm headed to the Conclave next. I don't know where everybody else is going.
Yep.
Okay. Is everybody heading to the Conclave except for obviously Eloise is doing her training right now?
So Veil was tailing Liam back to the shops, and as Liam broke off towards the dwarven weapons dealer, he slipped back into Mitchell's and burst in the door and says, "Mitchell, my good friend."
So Veil goes up to Mitchell's, bursts through the door, declaring his presence. And as you look around, all you see are the halfling woman and the dark-haired human woman behind the counters, and both of them look up at you, startled, like, "What the hell?"
I say, "Where's Mitchell?"
With the confidence of a serial killer.
Uh-huh. The human woman walks over to Vale. I believe Mitchell's in the back, said something about going to work on some projects. Is there anything I can help you with?
Yes, you could fetch him, please.
Oh, and in this moment, you can see a little bit of hesitation in this woman as she doesn't want to say no to a customer, but at the same time, not sure if that's what she should be doing right now. Finally, she waves over the halfling, who walks over to the counter, stands opposite of you, Vale. And the human woman says, okay, I guess I can see if he's available. Who should I say is asking?
Tell him it's Veil. Necthros Veil.
Yes, very good, sir. One moment, please. And the woman goes hastily hurrying into the back of the shop. You wait around for about 10 minutes before a very irritated-looking Mitchell comes pushing through the doors. However, when he sees you, you see a bit of a look of recognition on his face. Ah! Yes, hello. My very good elven friend. Welcome back. I was not expecting to see you again so soon. You only left a mere hour and a half or so, but what can I do for you?
Yes. I also wasn't sure I was coming back so soon, but upon thinking, the goggles that you've sold my friend, I think I'd like a pair of those. Now, I'm sure you don't have any in stock. However, I'm willing to pay for a commission.
Well, you certainly are trying to keep me busy, no doubt about that. I've already accepted 2 commissions from your group, but let me see what I can do here. Just one moment, please. And the human man turns away from you, walks to the back of the counter area, and picks up a book and begins going through it. I can look up and see how much it was.
For sake of brevity, yeah, it was.
For Liam's.
Yeah. Okay. So they were 750 gold.
Oh,
for
750
for that.
I thought it was 15.
It was for me. I didn't negotiate.
Oh, that's right. That was 1,500. I forgot. I'm looking at the chime of opening, which is 750, not the goggles of night.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I'm. Yep, you're right. It is 1,500.
Sorry, Mel.
Almost got a good deal.
Well,
however, Mitchell does turn to you and he says, well, I do have most of the ingredients for, most of the components for the Goggles of Night. Not everything. I will have to go and see if some of my suppliers has anything I can use. How soon are you wanting these? You've already have 2 commissions being prepared in the next 3 days, which is putting a lot of my personal time and effort into it. When do you need the Goggles of Night by?
I would like to pick them up when I pick up my bracers. So 3 days' time would be perfect, he says, with a gleam.
And you can just see the hesitation on Mitchell's face. You can tell that he doesn't want to say no because he likes money. He also, you can see the gears turning in his head as he's trying to figure out whether or not he could accept this commission from you. My good friend, I was looking forward to copying the spells we traded into my spell book this weekend as well. But seeing as you are such a very good customer, and with the express rush you are wanting on this, I would be willing to accept one last commission from you. However, for the price to rush all of these items, it is going to cost you 2,250 gold.
So let me get this straight. I paid you an extra 400 gold to speed up the process of the bracers. And you're also including my companion's commission to be sped up as well. He was going to take 7 days for that. So if you're going to include that, and all 3 will be done in 3 days, I'm willing to pay that extra gold. And I will settle it up with Liam later.
Liam doesn't have a commission.
It was, I think, Eloise?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Liam
I think it was Eloise.
Liam walked away from the bracers, but Eloise was getting. Yep, you got it.
She got something.
So yes,
Bracers. Yeah, we decided to pass on the armor. Instead, got
Wasn't it the Epitaph of Healing?
yeah,
Yes.
it's a healing thing.
Yeah. And that was a shorter one, if I'm remembering correctly.
Well, it was the first order that was put in.
Yeah.
It,
It was that one, and then it was the bracers.
that works. So
yeah.
2,000 for the goggles of night.
2250 is what he said. But if you want to negotiate with him, you're certainly welcome to try.
Yeah. So you're expecting me to pay 2,250 for an item that's worth 750 gold? Is that? Am I getting
1,500.
that?
1,500.
it's 1,500.
Look it up.
The goggles?
The goggles are 1,500. He misspoke earlier. He was looking at a different item when he said 750.
Yes, I'm just saying if you look it up.
So what he's asking, the reason it's so much more expensive is because he's already making several items in an expedited amount of time. To do another commission, he's willing to do it, but basically he's sacrificing his sleep time and sacrificing his personal time to get these items made for you guys. That's why it's so much more expensive. However, if you're wanting to negotiate with him, you're welcome to do so.
Yes. I feel that price is steep, especially the business I've given you so far.
And what exactly do you suggest?
I'm willing to pay the 1,500 gold.
If you're willing to pay... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
If you don't like that, perhaps we can go a little bit higher. However, I've given you plenty of business.
Go ahead and make your persuasion roll. And don't forget to call out.
That is a 20.
Thank you. So Mitchell begins to rub his chin, the little scruff that's on his beard. He wipes his hand across his bald head, and he says to you, as you are such a good customer, and as you have already made several purchases with me, I am willing to commission your goggles in the span of 3 days for 1,750 gold.
Deal. As he produces a mage hand in a flourish and reaches it out to shake Mitchell's.
And Mitchell does the exact same. The mage hand appears in that slightly purple, translucent fashion of his, and each of the mage hands grasp each other and shake, and the deal has been struck. So go ahead and take 1750 off of your character sheet.
You got it. And with that, he says, I will leave you to your work. You have plenty of it ahead of you. And I walk out the door.
Indeed I do. Have a good day, and if you need anything else, don't hesitate to stop by. We have anything that the magician might require. Not only do we have magical items, but things like paper and inks for spell work. We also carry in case you might need some.
Oh, yes. Oh, I almost forgot. And I turn on my heels back to Mitchell, and I stroll right back up, and I slap some gold down on the counter. I say, your finest paper, parchment, and ink, please.
And he does have plenty. How much are you wanting to buy from him? Because this is just going to be an at cost for your spells.
Okay, so I would like to purchase 10 parchment pieces and ink enough to write on them. The finest quality you have, please.
So if you remember when you're adding spells to your spellbook from like scrolls or other spellbooks, the material cost is, I think, 50 gold per spell level. Let's double check that. So basically, I just want to know what gold amount you're willing to purchase.
Real quick, so I took the 1750 off. I have 1,314 gold, so 1,314 gold.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the cost of the parchment is. You said 50 per.
I'm looking it up right now because I think it was like 50 gold per spell level, but I'm not 100% sure. So we're looking it up right now.
So, for the sake of brevity, can I just say that I'm purchasing 1,000 gold worth of materials, and we could.
You can if you want to, but I think that might be quite a bit. That's what I'm trying to help you out here a little bit.
Yeah, save me some money, DM.
Yes, it is. So for each level of the spell, the process takes 2 hours and costs 50 gold. So if you're wanting to, I know you're wanting to get spells from the Conclave, and there's also a cost associated with that for using for gaining access to those spells. So if you want to add a 3rd level spell, it would cost you 150 gold worth of paper and ink to add that spell. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you tell me how much gold worth of parchment you're wanting, and that's going to be the material component for your spell.
Okay. We'll say I'll do 450 gold worth, and that will be about 3 3rd level spells, if that.
Okay, perfect. So go ahead and take the 450 gold off of your character sheet, and in your inventory, write down that you have the 450 gold worth of paper components for spells.
Got it. And then I bow out and head back to join up the rest of the party.
Have yourself a wonderful day, my friend. I look forward to seeing you again in 3 days, and hopefully not a moment before. You hear him mutter to himself as you're walking out the door.
Nice.
Okay, so as you exit Mitchell's, you do see the rest of your friends, Blood, Leon, and Apollyon, gathering together to head up to the Eurdite Conclave. You guys have anything you want to do before you go there, or are you going straight there?
I'm super done with shopping.
Okay. So everyone gathers together and heads into the inner area of the city. Let's see here. We'll pull up the map here real quick just to show you guys. So where you guys are right now is the halls of Port Valena. I just threw up the map for you guys. Where you're heading is to the interior of the garden, which is more the much more dense living area of Port Valena. Takes you probably the better part of an hour if you need so. And as this is happening, Eloise, you've spent the last probably hour or so working with Millie. First, helping her to gather up and count all of the silver that Veil had thrown on the counter, just haphazardly. And then she begins to work with you a little bit, explaining to you the different herbs you use for making healing potions, the different styles of work that you guys can do within that. She's talking a little bit about cauldrons and heating. Thank you, by the way, Anubis. Thank you for our template. I appreciate that. I actually made this myself, so I'm pretty stoked with that. Yeah, sorry, I was talking to the viewers. Okay. Anyway, as she's working with you, and the two of you are kind of going over the cauldron, you're throwing in herbs to per her instruction. You hear a jingle from the door behind you. Millie asks you to watch the cauldron. Yeah, just keep an eye on this. Stir it every so often, but don't let it get too high. Oh, Shadowfire. Give me one sec, guys. Shadowfire, thank you. I'm glad you like.
He's one of the players in the afternoon game.
Yep, I'm glad you like it. It's good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're enjoying everything so far. Anyway, Eloise, your back is to the door, and you're working on this cauldron. And you hear Millie walk up and say, yes, can I help you with anything? And you hear a strangely familiar voice. Yes, well, hold on, I gotta do the voice just right. Yes, hello. I am looking for a few potions of healing nature. I could use a potion of fire resistance as well. Is there something you can help me with? The voice is very familiar to you. Like, for a second you thought you heard blood from a stone coming from behind you. But as you turn and look, you see two men standing in the center of Millie's apothecary. One is a shorter, humanoid-looking. His cloak is pulled up over his head, and so you can't really see his features too well. The second is a tabaxi with white fur and a scar down his left eye. He's wearing a bright green cloak, but his hood is pulled back to reveal his face. And he is just smiling a very wide cat smile as he says, "Do you have any kind of potions like that? I'm willing to pay top dollar."
Fucking bastard.
The two of them begin to negotiate back and forth for a few minutes, and you're just kind of watching, because that voice is oddly familiar. It's like it almost sounds like Blood, but it's definitely not Blood. It doesn't look anything like him. He's dressed differently. He's dressed mostly in greens and browns, whereas Blood is always wearing nothing but black. That cloak, you have seen that cloak before. It is very similar in style. It does kind of look to you like a similar cloak to the one Blood had recently got in the Feyweave Hollow.
Fucking bastard.
I don't know what you're talking about, Blood. You're
He's
not
dropping
here.
my brother.
Shut up, Blood. You're not here. The two negotiate for a few minutes. A purchase is made. You see the tabaxi and the humanoid purchase a total of 6 potions, which they put into their satchel and walk away.
Before they walk out,
Mhm.
I'm just gonna go, excuse me, do I know you?
I do not think that I know you. I've never seen you before, but I'm always pleased to meet a new individual.
Something so familiar about you, I can't put my finger on it.
I'm afraid this is my first time into the north, like here, so I guarantee you have not met me before, but you are a most charming individual.
Well, it's only my second time to the city. It's like super exciting, isn't it? It's so
Oh,
big.
it absolutely is. Very interesting.
Did you see like the giant crossbow they have over by the? It's huge.
I did see the giant crossbow. Wow. I'm a big fan of the bow myself, but that thing, well, that is definitely an interesting thing.
It's just something so familiar about you.
Well, if you ever make your way down south, maybe we'll see each other again. Have yourself a lovely day, Miss Dragonborn.
Okay, what was your name?
Oh, my name is Arden.
Arden?
Arden.
I'm Eloise. It's really nice to meet you.
Well, very nice to meet you too, Eloise. And you shake each other's hand. Eloise, what languages do you speak?
Oh God. Common, Draconic, Druidic, and Giant.
Okay, so no worries. Just curious. Okay. Once the two of you shake each other's hand, the tabaxi and his humanoid companion turn and exit the shop, and you see Millie kind of looking and watching you as you're sitting there talking. Oh my gosh! What the cauldron? You're not stirring the cauldron, and the two of you go running back to it to find just as smoke begins pouring out from the top of this cauldron, and you can just smell the acrid stench of burning. Anyway, back at the Eurdite Conclave, Apollyon, Liam, Blood from a Stone, and Necthros, the 4 of you make your way into the familiar interior of the tall, square-shaped, rectangular, I should say, 10-story tall building. You see the very familiar, very tan white stone of the building. No windows except for the very top levels, and that wide, large double door as you guys make your way through. There is a guard guarding it as usual, but he does recognize you and ushers you all through with no issue. And you find yourselves in the center of the Conclave Library, standing at the receptionist desk, where a very thin and reedy humanoid man is sitting. He's wearing the same robes that a lot of these Conclave members seem to be wearing, tans and greens. He himself has a thick mop of black hair, a very fresh shaven face, very young face. He looks maybe 18, 19 years old total. And he was sitting there reading a book before you guys entered, but once you do, he looks at him and says, "Oh, yes, how can I help you?" He's just kind of looking between the 4 of you.
Which way to the training grounds?
The training grounds? This is a library. Can I help? Who are you?
We have newly joined the Conclave. We were actually hoping to see Mr. Belmont. Has he awakened from his resurrection yet?
Belmont. Yes. Yes, I do know about him. Hold on one sec, and he, very flustered, pulls out a book from underneath his desk, sets it down, flips through it a little bit. Belmont Richter. He is on the third floor, recovery room, room 207. Hold on for a moment. I can have someone escort you all there. Whom did you say you were with again?
Well, my name is Blood from a Stone. We recently joined the Conclave. We do not have, I guess, think we're supposed to get some tattoos today as well.
The Faab Five, baby.
Oh,
the big guy said.
Oh, yeah, yes, I have heard of your group. You are due in today for membership initiation, which that is actually meant to be with. Hold on here, let me look through my notes. And he begins thumbing through the various pages.
Apollyon's like to himself, going, "I hope there's a cavity search. I hope there's a cavity search."
I believe maybe Mrs. Sashanel Bornell, I think was his name.
Yes, Master Bornell, he is the head of the conclave here in Port Valena. It does not say you're with where. Hold on, I just saw it. And he's kind
What
of.
are you trying to tell me? You sent special outposts out to kill a dragon, and you don't have any training grounds here. You expect librarians to take down a dragon?
Oh, sorry. I honestly, I had no idea who you were. Not gonna lie, just a random person coming off the street asking for training in a library is a little strange. So I do apologize. I have found it though. However, you are set to meet with Mr. Fribbs, Mr. Hencock Fribbs. He is a field researcher liaison here within the conclave, and just give me one moment. Allow me to summon him. And you see as the young man puts his hand to his ear, kind of looks down and begins muttering to himself for a few seconds. A few moments he nods his head, looks up, and as his hand comes down from his face, you see that he was clutching a little earring, a small singular stud of a red gem in his earlobe. Yes, Mr. Fribbs will be down momentarily. Please just wait right here, and he will be right with you. And he kind of points over to a set of wooden benches that are there along the side of the conclave book. Which I actually have a map for that, so I can show you guys.
We'll take a shot of whiskey, sit down, and take a nap until someone shows up.
We gotta get you like a hide flask. Like something that's like in the, a dagger, handle of a dagger, something like that. So you can just be drinking all the time and nobody's alive.
I'm not exactly trying to hide it.
I know you're not. That's why I said that.
Anyway.
I'm not here, right, Matt?
You are
He
not.
just moved you because you're moving everybody
I'm
else.
just moving everybody. Well, just saying you're over here for now, because you're not actually in there. However, a few minutes later, maybe no more than about 10-15 minutes or so, the back door opens up from the library, and there you see a short gnomish man wearing very similar long flowing tan brown robes with a green sash wrapped around his face. This individual is tall for a gnome. You judge him probably about 4'2", in fact. He has very long jet black hair that's tied back at the nape of his neck with a green ribbon. They wear, as I said, the long, bulky robes that seem to really hide any discernible feature on this individual's back, or on this individual's body. The gnome walks up to you all and says, hey! You wouldn't happen to be the Faab Five, would you?
Most of us.
Okay. Well, there are only 4 of you. That's a little weird, but no worries. I am Hentuck Cribs. I am the field researcher liaison here at Outpost Gamma of the Conclave. Please follow me. Walk right this way. And he leads you out of the reception area, through the halls that you guys have seen once before. I'm just going to move you guys over there. And into the similar room that you guys have seen once before. The same room, in fact, where you guys had laid out all of the heads that you guys had taken from Feyweave and on your adventure. In fact, as you guys walk in and your eyes drift to the line of the wall where you guys had laid out all the heads, you do see a little bit of red residue in between the tiles of the floor, where they tried to scrub it all clean, but you can still see it there. The gnome walks up, pulls out a chair, climbs up, and sits down on it, tucking their legs underneath them to sit up a little bit, and they lean their elbows up onto the table and say, so you guys have agreed to join the Conclave, is that right? Has anyone explained to you exactly how this works?
Well, Mr. Fribbs, they told us we get the tattoo and then we're allowed to walk around.
Well, that's not exactly accurate, but it's slightly accurate. As field researchers, you do have access to the Conclave grounds and are allowed to do research within it. Field researchers are not allowed to just walk around willy-nilly. When you come into the Conclave, you are assigned a scribe who will assist you in whatever research you are wanting to do. As members of the Conclave, as field researchers, you are entitled and expected to take on assignments for the Conclave as we need. Now, normally this comes in things such as bounties or assignments, which you are allowed to accept or disregard at your leisure. However, we do typically expect our members to do at least 2 missions a year for the Conclave. You are welcome to take on as many more as you want, and however many you wish to go on, as long as you are successful, you continue to earn money with us.
Out of curiosity, is that 2 missions per year per person, or is that for the whole group?
Well, it is for each individual. However, if multiple researchers go on missions together and work together, which is how it is typically assumed, either hiring outside help or working amongst yourselves, each mission counts for each of you. So if 4 of you go on a mission, each one of you has one quota, one of their quota you've done for the year. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
There are occasionally times when Conclave members are called upon to assist the Conclave with more important assignments, such as, a giant monstrosity attacking one of the Conclaves. However, that sort of thing doesn't happen too often. For the most part, we post assignments that we are looking to fill, either finding relics, finding lore, that sort of thing, or disposing of those who try to take or hurt our members. These assignments are posted up within the Conclave and handed out as typically requested. So you can work on missions as you want. As long as you do a couple a year, your status within the Conclave remains the same. Are we clear so far?
Perfect, sir.
What if
Yes.
we fail to do 2 a year? Do you remove the tattoo from us forcibly?
Oh no, the tattoos are only semi-permanent. You do have to get them re-enchanted every year. So if your membership runs out and you don't reapply your tattoo enchantment, well, it just fades away to be a tattoo.
Well, that's a bit boring, but I understand.
Now, since you asked so much about the tattoos, we do have our tattoo artist here today, and they will be able to apply the tattoo to each of you. The tattoo, and he actually holds up his hand so each of you can see the tattoo that is on his wrist. The tattoo is it's a green and tan and silver creation of swirling lines and arcane glyphs. Veil, you especially would notice the fact that these are in fact arcane glyphs. And the combination of them, the way they're woven together, actually makes an interlocking E and C over an open scroll. So while you can see the details of each of the enchantments laid over, when you look at it all together, you can see that it makes an E and a C as a tattoo.
All right.
Now, this right here, as the tattoo is being placed and enchanted, we add a book, an ink pot, and a quill, which is absorbed into the tattoo. It works as kind of a pocket dimension, as you would. When you say the word of enchantment that you decide, as the tattoo is being placed, it summons forth the book, the ink pot, and the quill to allow you to take on your research notes as you're going about your missions. We do expect you to take very detailed notes because information is the key to our entire organization. It's how the Eurdite Conclave has managed to last as long as it has, is because of our good note-taking. So make sure you're taking down every note of every possible thing you encounter as you're going on your mission. Now, when your book is filled up, we do allow the books to be exchanged. You hand over your book to us with your notes. We give you a fresh book to begin filling once again. The ink is magical, as is the quill, and as long as you're using both of them, you will not run out of ink.
Sweet.
Liam looks super irritated, but he's not saying anything.
Kind of got a side question on that. This little pocket dimension. Let's say if I wanted to put a dagger in that pocket dimension, would that work?
I'm afraid not. It's a very limited amount of space. This is very small enchantment. It has just enough space to keep the items that we place in them. And
All right.
if you try, no one's ever tried to alter the enchantment before, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how to do that sort of thing. So that's kind of a play at your own risk. The Conclave is not responsible for any alteration or any sort of interference in the natural magic of the spell.
I don't know how to do any of that stuff. I was just curious. If we happen to get captured and I wanted to have a knife in my hand, poof, but if it's not going to work that way.
Basically, you avoid the warranty of your Xbox.
It's an interesting idea. I might have to toy with that later, though.
Again, at your own risk, my friend. At your own risk.
Well, we got a fruity magical friend that might be able to do it for me. But on the other risk, maybe he can pocket dimension that one. I don't know. We'll see. But I appreciate the information.
Yep, absolutely no problem. Apart from that, there will be a contract that you guys will have to sign, which we will bring up later. It's not nearly as important. It basically just says that as members of the Conclave, you do have access and rights of full members. You have access to our library. You have access to our resources, such as our spells, and anything else you might need. As researchers on assignment, you have the rights and responsibilities of full members of the Conclave to act in our best interest and to complete your missions in an expedited and efficient manner. But I do know that you have a few other things you wanted to do. Researcher Victor is awake and has asked to speak with you at your convenience. And also, the Chief Archivist has mentioned that you had volunteered to assist us, or to assist each other in the questioning of one of the dead cult members.
That is correct.
Well, I can help you with both. Our Chief Archivist is available today, and probably about, and he pulls out a little clock, a little pocket watch out of his pocket, and kind of glances down at it. You see this is a brass pocket watch, probably about the size of this gnome's hand, on a long golden chain that kind of goes into their robes. He looks down at it and says, in about an hour and a half, the Chief Archivist said he would be available. So it's a good thing that you guys showed up when you did. In the meantime, I can either start having your tattoos applied to each of you, or if you prefer, you can go and speak to Researcher Victor.
Let's get the tattoos over with, I'd say.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Sorry about that. I can't. One of you were cutting out.
How long will the tattoos take?
Probably around. Probably we could get one of you done in an hour and a half.
Oh. Well, then if you guys want to go start on that, I would like to go see Belmont.
I'll go first with the tattoos.
Okay. As you say this, the gnome. You notice now that the gnome is wearing a similar red stud that the person behind the front desk is also wearing. The gnome touches his hand to the ear, begins muttering a little bit. You guys really can't make out a whole lot of what he's saying. However, a few seconds later, he nods and says, "Okay, I do have the tattooist coming down. He will be with you momentarily. Mr. O'Shea, right?"
That's right.
Okay. The tattooist will be down for you. Mr. Blood from a Stone, if you'd like to follow me, I will take you up to speak with Victor. Is anyone else wanting to accompany?
I might as well go. I'm not going to sit here and wait for the tattoo.
How about you, Apollyon?
Yeah, I'll go down and see Richter.
Okay. So, Liam, you sit there and kind of put your feet up and have a bit of a drink as you watch the gnome walk out with the rest of your companions. Probably about 5 minutes later, you see a very large, burly, half-orc man, about the same height as you, but significantly more muscle. He has a long black hair that's tied up in the top knot on the top of his head, and a very thin pencil-like beard going around his lower chin. He's carrying what looks like a little metal box with several tubes and a little needle-like machine on one end. And as he begins setting this up and setting up the inks, for the next hour and a half, he begins working over your skin, tattooing this very intricate design, which I'll show you guys the handout to explain.
So it's a tramp stamp.
But it's on his hand.
It's on your wrist.
Yeah.
I can't choose to
Can I
have
get
it
my wrist
anywhere else.
tattooed?
It has to be on the wrist. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, it has to be on the wrist. However, as you are doing this, the rest of you are led up 2 flights of stairs. You're led through the back room into the library proper itself, which I'll just go ahead and show you guys here, just so you can see it. There's basically 3 levels of this. Just a large room full of shelves of books, with a handful of people walking back and forth. Humans, dwarves, gnomes, you see maybe 1 tiefling among them. Not many people in the library area, but a few of them are moving around, and they're all dressed the same way. The brown robes, the green sash, they're all dressed pretty similarly, these archivists who are working in the library. You all manage to make your way up 1 set of stairs, up a 2nd set of stairs, going through yet another library until you come to the 3rd floor, which is just a long hallway filled with rooms on either side. You guys are led about 50 or so feet down a long hallway. You turn to the left, another 50 feet until you come to a room that you would have never been able to distinguish this room from any other. None of them are labeled, none of them have any sort of identifying features. They're all just long hallways of wood walls, stone floors, and nondescript doors. But the gnome does lead you to one in particular, and you open it to find a very small, comfortable looking room with a single bed, a desk, several chairs, and a stool. And there, laying in the bed, is the pink tiefling that is Belmont Victor. He's lying there with the covers pulled up over his waist. He's seated up a little bit on some pillows, and there, seated on the bed next to him, is a blue-skinned tiefling, female, with long black hair and bright red eyes. Blood, you recognize her as the woman from the picture you had found in Belmont's journal.
I won't let that on though, because I don't want it to seem like I was prying.
As the 3 of you walk into the room, both look up and look towards the door, and you hear Belmont say, "Ah, blood from a stone. Apollyon, Mr. Veil. I was wondering if I would see you again soon."
Well, of course. Good thing to see you actually amongst the living, sir.
Indeed. I have very little memory of what happened when we found the bees and they swarmed over me. I assume.
Yeah, the queen took an extra special liking to you. She's the one that got you right in the chest.
Yes, unfortunately. Them swarming over me and it was just the luck of the draw. These things are natural for one who chooses the life of the researcher. And as he says this, the blue-skinned tiefling just kind of lightly smacks him on the shoulder. Honey,
Kind of smile.
that is not what you should be worrying about. You owe these men your thanks for retrieving your body and bringing it back to us. I must thank you as well. You saved my husband's life, and I must forever be in your debt.
I wasn't gonna leave him out there. Contract or not, that had nothing to do with it. I don't know if you noticed in your journal, sir, but I finished out the report on the hollow. And it was when I saw the picture of your wife and children, and I knew I couldn't leave you.
I did see a journal this morning, actually. And I did see your notes. Very well done. I am pleased to see that my faith in you was not wasted.
And then that nifty little sword of yours kind of came in handy too. I was able to cut one of those little god drakes, little like dragon-like creature. Cut that thing right in half with it.
I am told that you also found the green dragon.
That we did. We should have talked to you sooner about that, because you seemed to know what we were coming up against, and he kind of just startled us, or I think it was a she. She got the jump on us.
These things are always the learning experience. But it is good that you have all survived, and that I seem to have survived. Though I did not reap the rewards that you did. However, you did return my blades to me, and
I was expecting to be returning them and giving them to your son, but I'm happy that they were able to use that diamond you had to bring you back.
The blue-skinned tiefling woman chimes at this. Yes, sir. This was wedding present from my father to Rito. I'm very glad that it made its use and brought my husband back to me.
We only found it after you had fallen, and none of us could have performed that magic anyway.
I do know this, and I do not blame you for me to fall. Rena, my wife,
and Vale says, just a tip next time, Belmont. The best defense is a good offense. You should pick up those swords and swing them harder next time.
You are not wrong, friend elf.
Blood just looks over his shoulder with "What the fuck" look on his face.
And the tiefling woman kind of has the same look. You just kind of could tell, like, hey, these guys did bring him back. I don't want to be too much of a dick, but she's looks a little annoyed. Yes, allow me to introduce my wife, Rena. Rena, these are the Faab Five. And from what I understand, you are indeed joining the Eurdite Conclave.
That is correct, sir.
Allow me to be the first to formally welcome you as a colleague. And I hope that one day, after my recovery, and he kind of looks at his wife, after my recovery, perhaps we may work together again. And she chimes in. But not very soon. Not soon at all.
Well, I hope to be around for a while, so I hope we do get to work together again.
But
I
please,
feel I have probably a lot I could learn from you.
Do you have time? Can you tell me all that you had seen? In the film?
Yeah, I mean, Liam's downstairs getting his tattoo now, so they said that's going to take like an hour and a half. So yeah, we got plenty of time.
As Blood says that, are there any windows around?
There are, in fact, one window in the store, in this chamber. This is the singular set of windows that you saw that are kind of halfway up the building. And you can see there is one single window in this room.
So Vale looks out the window and he says, he holds his hands up, kind of measuring the distance from the sun to the horizon, and says, Blood, I think you've got this covered. I'm going to head out and look for some light reading, and I turn and search for the rest of the library or for spells I could copy. Doesn't need to be now.
As you go heading towards the door, your gnome companion speaks up. Excuse me, Veil. Yes, hi. Unfortunately, you do need to have an escort when you're walking around the conclave, just to make sure you don't get lost.
Absolutely, and that's why you're here.
Yes, that is. I'm happy to take you. What are you wanting? Are you wanting to do some research? I can take you to a research room and get you set up with a scribe if that's what you're wanting to do.
So I'm looking to make some additions to my spell list.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Come with me. Let's go find you a scribe and get you in a research booth. And so the gnome jumps down from where he was sitting upon a stool, walks over to the door and opens it, and motions for you to follow.
I proceed.
Okay.
Do you want me to break down everything that happened with him on stream, or you just want to...
Let's go ahead and actually take our break because it is 8:30 now.
Okay.
We'll just assume that for the next hour and a half you sat there and talked with Belmont and gave him the lowdown of everything you experienced.
Perfect.
So we will go ahead and pick things back up, guys, here in about 15 minutes. So yeah, go ahead and take your break, and we'll be back in a few. Howdy, everybody, and welcome back to Random Rhapsody. As always, you can watch us here first on twitch.tv/randomrhapsody, or you can watch this video 1 week later on YouTube or listen to it on podcast form. Please feel free to hit follow and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You can also find us on Facebook at Random Rhapsody TV, or on Twitter as random_Rhapsody. So, to pick things up where we left off, Veil, you were led by your gnome companion and out into the library and to the second floor, where you're escorted into a little side room that has a single desk and a chair. A few moments later, you're joined by a halfling man wearing similar robes to the gnome, and he says, "This here is Scribe Willem, and he can get you anything that you need in regards to research. When you are finished with your research, let him know, and he can escort you back out to the reception area or to wherever else your friends end up." Do you have any questions before I leave?
I say, Wilhelm, show me where the scrolls are. Show me where the texts are.
And the halfling looks up and says, "What sort of research are you wishing to do first?"
Well, what are my options?
Well, if you have a particular subject you're wishing to research, you tell me, and I will bring you the books that you're requesting. If it is not a topic that we have on hand, we will have to request it from another branch. But we do have a fairly large collection here. Most of the branches share their information with one another. So if that's the sort of thing you're wishing to do, just tell me what subject you're wishing to research, and I can bring it for you. If you're looking more, I believe, researcher Fribbs had said something about spells that you wish to access.
Yes, the spells.
we could start there if you like. What spells are you wishing to research?
So, as of right now, I'm looking to a mirror image spell.
Okay.
That's a level 2.
We do have a mirror image spell. Let's see here. Yep, you are able to get a copy of mirror image. The halfling leaves you in the lone room, and you sit there for about 15 minutes or so before he comes back with a small book, single notebook style, paper and wood front. And when he places it down in front of you and opens it up, you do recognize this as the arcane spell from Mirror Image. He tells you as he sets the book down, now access to this book will cost 200 gold. Can you pay that up front?
I say 200 gold for the mirror image spell. Yes, I could pay, but this wasn't this wasn't the spell I really wanted. So let me see. And I say, leave the book here for now. And can you gather one more or two more books?
I'm afraid if you wish another spell, if you do not want to pay for this one, I will be required to take it with you.
Take it if you must.
And he picks up the book and closes it and says, "Which spell are you wanting, if not the one you requested?"
I would take Blink or Lehman's Tiny Hut. Whatever's faster for you. Those are level 3 spells, by the way.
Okay. He can access both of them for you, and for all spells, like I said, is 100 gold per spell level. So for Blink or for Lehman's Tiny Hut, it would be 300 gold.
All right.
He can bring you a copy of each if that's what you wanted.
Yeah, do that, and then I'll pay for that.
Okay. So that's 600 gold for those 2 spells, which he will accept before he allows you to begin copying them. The Conclave does not give paper. That's something you have to provide for yourself, but you did buy some. So it also takes 2 hours per spell level, if I remember correctly from what we looked at earlier today. So to copy these 2 spells into your spell book, it's going to take you about 6 hours.
That's fine.
Just so you know.
That's
okay.
per level. So wouldn't that be 12
hours?
No, it was 2 hours per level, I thought.
Yeah, but he's got 2 of them.
So that would be... Oh, yeah, you're right. So 12 hours total. Yep, my math is off. But yeah, so you could absolutely... if you're... He does point this out to you, and he says, now, my shift does end in about 8 hours. If you're planning on remaining here all night, you will have to be assigned a scribe after my shift is over.
Do what you must. I'll be here all night.
We do not have any limitation on when anyone wants to not be here. It's just you will have a scribe assigned to you as you work. So if that's what you're wanting to do for the next 12 hours, you can sit there in this little room and copy and practice and work out these spells because. And eventually, get over this course of these 12 hours, put them into your spell book.
Okay. So, let me just say, so I've subtracted the 600 gold, and for the sake of brevity, using your turn, I will do. My end goal would be to have Blink, Lehman's Tiny Hut, Mirror Image. And I think that's all I can afford. 1 level 1 spell as well, and that's what I'd be doing for the next day and a half.
Okay. You can absolutely for the next day and a half just sit there and work on these spells, and as you pay them off and go ahead and mark off your gold, mark off your material paper components that you have down. So it's 50 gold per spell level for the material component. So for the 2 third levels, that would be 300 gold of your material component, and then another 100 for the 2nd level spell. Mirror image. And that's it. So for the next 18 hours or whatever, you are sitting there in the conclave. You actually have 2 different scribes assigned to you during this time, but as long as you sit there and work, they'll just kind of watch you and read their own book, and otherwise ignore you until you're ready to leave.
All right, and so that would be 700 gold total, correct?
Yes.
And then as far as the components go...
Well, hold on. You said you wanted 2 third level spells. That's 600 gold total there for those 2. Then the 2nd level spell is another 2, so that would be 800 gold. And then for the material components, it's 50 material component gold per spell level, so that's 150 per 3rd level, so 300 gold material, and then another 100 gold material for the 2nd level spell. So there would be total 400 gold of material components that you purchased off for those, and 800 gold total for the spells.
All right, so I just took that off my list. So I currently have 50 gold worth of parchment and ink left, and I have 64 gold. But I also have 1,300 silver, so I could still do one more level 1 spell if it comes to it. I have enough parchment and gold for that, but for now we'll just stick with those 3 spells.
Absolutely. And so for the rest of you actually don't see Liam until the following morning. And when you do eventually when we get back to you...
You mean Veil or Liam?
Yeah, Veil, sorry. I was looking at Liam's picture.
They kidnapped me! Save me!
Yeah, so Veil, like I said, you spend the next all night long until the next morning working on your spells. You will have a point of exhaustion the next morning due to staying up all night working on this, but I figure you're fine with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
And the rest of the party, Eloise, when you make your way home eventually, or to the inn eventually, Liam or Veil's not there at all. Veil's just not there. But you spend, as I said, the rest of your day training with Millie as well. So, Blood from a Stone, Apollyon, Liam. You spend the next... you, Liam, have just about finished your tattoo. And in that hour and a half time that Apollyon and Blood were sitting there with Rictor, you were able to kind of succinctly explain what happened at Faab Hollow, what all you guys found and experienced. And he seems slightly impressed that you guys managed to do so well against the Green Dragon. He was very what's the word I'm looking for? He was very approving of the way you guys handled fighting the dragon, and the way you controlled him, kept him down on the ground and unable to fly around and fight. So he was pretty impressed with that. And at the end of it, he's been sitting there with his wife and listening and chatting back and forth. And he finally says, "Now that you are full members of the Conclave and you have access to many more missions, what are your plans? What do you intend to do?"
Well, I think immediately, some of us had some research we wanted to do here. And I know that we had to go check on something for Liam back towards the northeast, I believe. back towards west Westgate or Weston.
Weston.
But after that, maybe we're gonna try and start taking a few contracts, make some money. Trying to figure out some more about this Dreamer army, probably as well.
Well, if you are wishing to continue your research with the Conclave and deal with this cultist army, I have heard that they are setting up an expedition to find the third route that you guys had uncovered information. In fact, I believe they are setting this up in the next few days. I do not know if it will be available to you, but you could
definitely talk to me about that.
Speak with the chief archivist. I'm sure he knows much more about it. I just heard this through the grapevine, and I'm sure you understand.
Completely.
Do you know how many dream roots there are in total?
Unfortunately, no. I do know that they are beginning to research the subject of the route, but they have only been working on it for a short period of time. I do not know if they have found anything yet, but we do have the information that you yourselves provided, that one of the routes was taken by boat and disappeared. And I heard talk of one of the Conclave ships being outfitted in the port. I put two and two together and assumed they are making their expedition.
Might have to look into that.
I thank you for your time. I'm sure you have many other things you wish to do, but if you ever wish to come and visit an old man in bed while he heals, I would not what's what I'm looking for? I would not mind the company.
I might do that, sir. I will leave you to rest, and we will go find our companions.
As you guys are getting ready to leave, Belmont's wife stands up and grasps each of your hand and begins. Do either of you speak Abyssal?
No.
Apollyon?
Nope. So
it sounds pretty fucked up. It's like. It's very guttural and very demon sounding, but she does say it's at the same time very musical and flowy, and it seems like once she's done, she smiles and says, "My family bless you. I wish you all the very best on your further expeditions. Take care, and thank you again for my husband's safe return."
It was no problem, ma'am. It was our pleasure.
Okay. You are, as you guys are led out, your gnomish liaison, Fritz, comes walking down the hall to join the group. He says, Liam is done and waiting for you all. Would you like to return and begin your tattoo process?
Yeah. Would I be able to do some research while I'm getting the tattoo? Have somebody bring some materials to me?
That can easily be arranged. No problem. We'll grab one of the scribes on our way out down.
Not a problem. I will get ready.
Yeah, I'd like to do some reading as well.
Absolutely. Wow, I didn't peg you for the reader, but yeah, no problem. We can absolutely take care of that. Follow me.
Mm-hmm.
And the gnome leads you back down the stairs, through the Conclave library to the first floor, where the half orc has been working with Liam Liam, you now have a slightly stinging but very beautiful tattoo on your hand.
You catch up with Liam, and he's sitting there going, "Now you're a relatively big guy. You clearly don't care about books as much as the rest of these. Oh, hey guys.
Hey there, thanks for popping in. We appreciate you showing
What
up.
you
Yeah,
doing?
welcome to the live show.
Oh, we're coming to get tattoos, buddy.
Any idea where? Two requests. I was told there would be an unlimited bar once I got my tattoo. And number two, I don't care to read that much. Where's the training grounds?
And the gnome kind of chuckles. As you guys made your way through the library, he did gather up a couple scribes, two humans, a male and a female, who have followed you in. And the gnome kind of chuckles at you, Liam, and he says, "Oh, yeah. We do have a training ground. It is on the lower level of the conclave in the basement. It's a very large open training ground. There's plenty of people down there if you're looking for training. Go see Master Valkirk. He is the resident master monk here in the conclave. So as for an open bar, there is an open bar downstairs as well.
I knew it! I love you, lad.
And the gnome just is very taken aback at this proclamation. He's kind of looking. Sure. Follow me.
Finally, some kind of reward for killing a dragon. That's what I'm talking about.
And so Liam, researcher Fribbs, escorts you out of the room and through the long corridors down to the basement level of the conclave, where you find a huge open training pit. Several of them, in fact. 4 different large circular training pits with a very large variety of monks training down there. You count probably 8 or 9 of them in total, working through forms and training back and forth. Humans, halflings, dwarves. There's at least one ginger-furred tabaxi, a couple gnomes, a few half-orcs as well, all training down there. What do you do?
I do what he said. I look for someone who's not training but more instructing and start asking around for Master Valkyr.
Okay. So there is a older man. He is humanoid but very tall. Taller than you. Not quite on the level of Master Groob. He doesn't seem to be of Goliath stock, but maybe somewhere down in his gene pool because he is a tall man. Very large, very broad, very big muscles. Bald head, completely shaved, but a nice thick, bushy goatee and mutton chops on the sides of his face. And he seems to be the one who's walking around, weaving his way throughout the training hall, stopping every so often to stop a couple of the training monks, to show them a better way to do the forms, or just to throw one across the room. But he seems to be the man in charge.
I will, oh boy. Master Valkyr, may I have a moment of your time?
And the towering human turns and looks at you and looks down at you a little bit and says, "Yeah, I'm Valkyr. What can I do for you?" And it trails off a little bit.
I go by Liam around here. Well, always in the mood to learn new techniques. And possibly share a few of my own. But, well, let me show you. And I reach into my pack and I pull out a very, very old scroll. It is the scroll I got a long time ago. The scroll of Polearm Master.
Okay.
And I present that to him. And I say, this has been in my possession for quite some time. I've learned about all there is to know about it, and to be honest, I don't think how it got attained was all that, legal. So, maybe you would like it?
The human takes this and begins looking through it, and you see his eyes kind of go wide a little bit. I do recognize this. Read about it once up in the library. Didn't think I'd have it come walking down to me in the middle of my training ground. How did you come by this?
Long story short, a white tiefling that I used to do, bad things with, he gave it to me because I was rather worthless at the time. And after studying the scroll long enough, I'm not quite so worthless anymore.
Well, that's an interesting story. I'd love to hear more. Don't suppose you'd be interested in ale? Maybe a whiskey?
Oh, you are my favorite here so far. Thank you very much. I would love some ale.
And the man kind of clasps his very large hand on your shoulder in a friendly sort of way. The scroll is in his hand at this point, and he seems really interested in it. And he leads you to the far southern corner of this room, where in fact it is a large open bar, set up just in the corner, out of the way of the training ground. You do see a couple of the monks sitting there, tossing a few back, laughing amongst themselves. There is a bartender standing there, an old human wearing tweed with a big bushy mustache and huge ears and a bald head. And he's just sitting there kind of chuckling to himself, listening to the people as they go by. And as the two of you shuffle up, and Master Valkyr orders you guys up a couple ales and a bottle of whiskey, he sets them down in front of you with nary a word, just a smile and a bit of a twinkle in his eye.
Out of nervousness, I drank about half the beer immediately.
And Valkyr sits down at the bar, motions for you to sit down next to him, and says, "Love to hear your story from the beginning. Tell me more about this tiefling and the scroll he gave you. How long did you study it?" And for quite some time, over the next, depending on how long you wish to spend with them,
Yeah,
I'm
pretty honest with this guy. More honest than I've been with almost anyone in my group so far.
Absolutely. During this time, Blood from a Stone and Apollyon, you're both assigned a scribe and are allowed to give them research topics, while the half-orc begins working on your tattoos. He has this magical little setup sitting there. He has he has a stack of books, several ink pots, several quills, and he seems ready to enchant each of you with these new tattoos. So while he is beginning to work on that, what are you guys wanting to research?
Several things.
Well, let's start with one.
For the sake of, for just the sake of the stream, we won't do them all. But the Cerulean Syndicate. I was kind of curious about their leadership structure, known locations inside and outside of the Federation.
Okay, Cerulean Syndicate. Yours is the female human that was assigned to you, and she said, "I will go and search out what records we have of the Cerulean Syndicate and its leadership. Please wait right here." And then the male comes up to you, Apollyon, And what would you like to research while we wait?
I want to know everything that's been found out about the dream roots so far.
Oh, yes. Not much, I'm afraid, but I will go and find the researcher who's currently working on that here. One moment, please. And
Just bring him here. We'll question him.
And that's exactly what he does. So, for the sake of time, both of your scribes return, one in tow with another human, a very younger man who is very, very intimidated by your presence, seeing the giant minotaur, the tabaxi, who, by the way, your palm had to be shaved before you could get this tattoo.
Figured.
And that's an interesting thing, watching this half-orc with a very fine razor shaving the hand of blood from a stone, the tabaxi. And as his black fur falls away and you receive that white, pale flesh underneath.
Let's die, kid.
Oh no, we're getting weird with this.
Now, okay?
We're getting weird with this one, buddy. And he begins to tattoo you. However, the young man... Oh, I'm sorry. Also, you are handed a book when your scribe returns Blood from the Stone. And I'm just going to go ahead and show that to you. That way you can be reading that as we go through Apollyon. So, Apollyon, this young man, tan, very light tan hair, bright blue eyes, very pale and sallow-looking young man who says, yes, sorry, hi, I was told that you were asking questions about the dream root. Is that correct?
You know it. Recovered one of those things with my pals here, and now I'm slightly wondering more about it. Seems quite important.
Yeah, well, sorry, but unfortunately our research into the subject has only just begun. In fact, as my colleague here informs me, you are one of the individuals who brought the dream root to the Conclave, correct?
Right, that's right.
Yeah, the Faab Five. Well, you probably are up to date on most of the information we currently have on the subject. We do have the notes that your group provided.
Something the dreamer.
Sorry?
That's about it.
What's that?
We know that these roots are some kind of magical thing that's used to summon something called the dreamer. Other than that, we don't know much.
Well, what we do have is, well, you're probably up to date on the information we do have, but we do have the notes that your group provided to the Conclave on several of the roots. The one found in Weston that we now know is in the possession of the army of the Dreamer. We believe, thanks to field researcher Rothen, we believe that the root is somewhere in the west, or I'm sorry, in the east. Perhaps in the Republic of Hyrulean is our current theory, but we do not know for sure. Researcher Rothen is actually in pursuit of that right now. We do have information on the one that you provided on Faab Hollow, that it was found within a it was originally found in a sealed stone, and a dragon broke that out and was experimenting with that and using necromantic magic to create an army of undead servants. So we do know about that. And the last one, which is the notes that you provided, we believe one of these dream roots was on a ship called the Grey Squall when it left port in the city of Sulia, and it was bound for Squall's End. We believe that the ship either sank or was attacked somewhere along the northern coast, and I can confirm that the Conclave is currently mounting an expedition to search for the Squall's End and attempt to recover the Dream Root from wherever it currently resides. Now, as for...
What? You think we should go on this mission with these guys? I had quite a good time last time we were on a boat.
We'll have to see if we're allowed, buddy. We also have to check with the others.
Allowed? Listen here. My name's Apollyon. I go where I please.
Blood's just kind of rubbing his temples. It's not what I mean, buddy. I mean, they might not assign it to us.
What?
They might give it to more experienced researchers. Who knows?
Experience. Have you seen these muscles?
And the researcher kind of looks and says, "You are a very fine specimen." Wow. I get where you got
strange. I swear.
I can understand how you managed to get the dream root that you provided. Now, as for remaining dream roots, as I said, we are currently compiling records and lore on the subject. But as of right now, there's very little we do actually know about how many there are or where they might be. We are currently researching all of our records to see if anything mentions even narrow descriptions. We hope to find more of them as we research. Now, as for the dream root that your party recovered, I can tell you that it has already been transported to our main branch in Ravanica, and it is currently going through a thorough study. I do know that from today's initial report, it was actually just given to me a little bit ago. It suggests that the root seems to emit a type of magic that we are very unfamiliar with. There's not a lot known about it. However, our researchers are currently calling it chronomantic magic. And it also seems to have a vague sort of necromantic and naturalistic essences to it as well. It's actually very hard to analyze because of these conflicting forms of magic that all seem to reside within the root. And honestly, those last two forms of magic are so muddled by the first that it was almost impossible to detect. The researchers in the Ravanica branch will give us daily updates, but unfortunately that's all we know right now.
Go ahead.
All right, well, that's all very interesting. What do you know about homo magic?
Well, Blood's gonna pipe in. You said you sent it to the Ravnica Keep.
No,
is that correct?
No, not Rav. No,
the Ravnica.
Hold on.
Because didn't we hear something saying the army was headed towards something with similar name?
Similar names, yeah. Hold on a second. I'm gonna pull up the match for you.
One's Ravnica and one's
Ravnica?
Ravicina or something.
Okay. Ranivika Keep. Ranivika Keep is in the Margarden Federation.
The names were just too close together for my comfort because I was like, wait, what? I was like, you just sent that into the Lion's Den.
Yeah, and then Ravanica.
Despite all the books, I don't think these guys are too smart.
Ravanica is the capital city in Hyrule, and that's where the main branch of the Conclave is.
Oh, very good. Because it's there. You guarantee it's there. I just want to make sure they can't steal it en route, something like that.
Yeah. So, just for the sake of clarity, they believe that the Dream Root army, the Cult of the Dreamer army, has the Dream Root in Ranivika, and the Conclave is in Ravanica. I know the names are very similar, but that's the keep that is in the Margarden Federation. And that's where Tomas had said that the army was currently gathered.
Is that where's Tomas stationed?
He's currently tracking
Chasing the army.
the army, and he said that he was going to be following them. And then the last time you were at the Conclave, they did say that the army was stationed there at Rangica. So
So they're quite a ways away. All right.
Yeah, no, that's a little bit more of a load off hearing that.
Yeah. Sorry, I know the names are very similar.
No, you're fine.
And also, if I'm talking really fast, I tend to slur my words a little bit. But anyway, no worries. So, do you have any other questions for him, Apollyon?
What was the other thing I asked about? Dragons.
Okay.
Yeah, you book on dragons?
We do have quite a few books on dragons. Are you wanting information on dragons just in general?
How about blue ones? Of the ancient variety.
Yes, ancient dragons.
We do have information on dragons and also blue dragons specifically. Excuse me. And the young man who's researching the dream roots. If there's no other questions, I'm going to get back to my work. But it was very nice to meet the individuals who found the dream root. And he leaves, and your scribes leave, and a few minutes later, comes back with a few more books, which I'm just going to go ahead and share with you. The first one...
A bunch of other things I want to look at, but I won't drag the stream down for it.
Yeah. The first one is in Dragons in Loroupa. The main thing that I'll draw attention to that's very interesting is that blue dragons are actually the most common form of dragon on the continent of Loroupa. They are very prevalent in the southern desert, which Blood, you would know, being a tabaxi from the south, that it's well known that blue dragon wormlings to attack caravans in the desert. It's thought that the Jutla wastes themselves are a spawning ground for the blue dragon type. Apart from that, there are a lot more chromatic dragons on Loroupa than there are metallic, but there are some. The research you're given gives you some information on quite a few, so you can read that for a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and also give you the research you requested on blue dragons specifically. There down at the bottom, it does list a few known blue dragons in Loroupa. The oldest that they believe is a blue dragon by the name of Darthanix the Azure Calamity. They estimate it to be around 600 and 700 years old, and they believe it nests somewhere along the Kinleaf Mountains, west of Rinoth. These are all locations on your maps that you have, so you can kind of figure out where exactly those are from the maps you have. There's an unknown blue female. There's a known blue female that is said to hunt somewhere along the southeastern Cape. And there's also record of an ancient blue dragon known as Arcades, the Cerulean Sentinel. This one, there's very little known about this ancient dragon. Its name appears in several of the most ancient texts that the Conclave owns. It is described as a dragon with scales of pure sapphire who commands magic unlike any other. Although no record exists of where it once resided, the scribe notes that there is a mountain in the Cragmire mountain range that is known as Arcades Rest. It is extremely ancient. So while they are researching, this research, by the way, is eating up pretty much the rest of your day.
Yeah.
While they are doing this research, Liam, is there anything you're wanting to do In the training ground?
No, I'd probably just continue to train for as long as everybody is down there, and I'll finish up the session with them for whenever they end.
Okay. So you're allowed to train with the monks for pretty much the rest of the day if you want to. Some of them tend to go off on their own, depending on what their own personal schedules are like. What was that guy's name?
I'll stay till the last one leaves.
Master Valkyr will train and talk with you and get to know you for probably the better part of the evening. And you leave, you're escorted out probably about the same time that Apollyon and Blood are. And you all, the three of you, meet each other at the outside of the conclave doors. Exhausted, some of you more mentally exhausted, some of you more physically exhausted. All three of you with fresh new tattoos on your hand. Blood with a shaved fur for a hand.
Blood, they had to shave you. That's delightful.
He got his fucking sleeves down again, so you don't see that shit.
Veil is nowhere to be seen. And if you inquire about him, after probably about 10-15 minutes, you're told that he is continuing his work into the night and will remain here in the conclave until morning. But the rest of you are able to return to the inn, the singing nave, and by the time you do make it, it's probably around 9 o'clock in the evening, which is about the same time that Eloise has finished with her potion training for the day, and Millie has sent you home to rest up, and she tells you to meet her bright and early the following day.
Sweet, let's get us a long rest.
Absolutely. Is there anything you guys want to do at the inn or for the rest of the evening?
Did you say Veil's still writing down spells?
Oh yeah, you're going to be in the conclave writing down spells till the next morning.
Okay.
So Eloise, Apollyon, Liam, and Blood, as you make your way into the singing nave, you find a very loud and rambunctious inn, filled with plenty of people. There's merrymaking. There's a bard playing songs in one corner of the inn. Everyone seems to be having a grand old time. If you guys want to, you can just eat dinner, go to bed, and get up the next morning. Or if there's anything you'd like to do in the town at night, there's plenty to do in a very large
I think we only paid
port.
for one night, so I'll go up to the bartender and tell him that we're going to be here for 2 more nights, I think.
Closer to a week,
I'd say,
I think, for all of the objects, wasn't it?
At least another 3
Well,
days.
he put a rush on those things, so none of them are taking a full week, from what I understand.
Okay.
3 days.
So another, like 3 or 4 days.
3.
So,
At least.
okay. So the innkeeper is a male dwarf named Stenna, a retired soldier with a gray, craggy face and beard, and he does have the rooms that you guys had previously still available. It is 1 gold. I'm sorry, it is 5 gold pieces per night because they are currently quite busy. But you can pay in advance for the next 3 days if you want to.
Yeah, I'll give him, that'd be about 15 gold, so I'll give him 18.
Well, it's 15 gold for 1 room for 3 days. How many rooms are you guys going to be taking? They have a total of 3 available.
I'll put up the other 15.
Okay, so you're doing 2 rooms?
Yeah.
Okay, they do have a total of 3 available if you want a third one. If not, it's just going to be the 30 gold for the 2.
Yeah, I think we're fine with 2.
Okay. So you pay for two rooms, and you're you still probably have the keys from when you rented them previously. So you they're the same rooms, the same two rooms that you had last night, and you do have them now for the next 3 days.
Well, how was your guys' day?
Well, we got. I mean, Blood just looks down at his wrist, just very fucking unapproving. We got our tattoos. Got to see Mr. Belmont. He's doing all right.
I went right to Blood, and I put my hands on his shoulders, and I'm like, say something again.
Wait, what? What do you mean, say something? What are you talking about?
The way you talk, is it, are you from the South?
I'm from the South, yes.
Is that how people talk? Is that common?
Well, it's rather common around where I'm from, yeah.
And are people like you, are they common down there too?
Well, you mean Tabaxi?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of villages in the Federation. Yeah, there's quite a few of us. It's a pretty big space. I think there's like at least 10,000 Tabaxi.
I met someone today. They came in the apothecary. They bought 6 healing potions. I don't know what they're up to. But they were Tabaxi just like you, and they sounded just like you. It was so weird. And they were all white, and they wore this really bright green cloak. And how do you say his name was? Alamad? I don't know. He had a scar on his right.
Like you're gonna just see maybe he was looking down at first, and then his head kind of snaps up. He's like, "Excuse me." He said he was all white with a scar.
Well, I mean, he had clothes on, so I couldn't. I mean, he wasn't naked, so it's not like I could see all of him. But what I could see was all white.
And he said a scar, kind of like mine.
You'll remember, Eloise, that the scar of the Tabaxi you met is literally the exact opposite eye of the one Blood has.
Yeah, but it's on the other eye. It's on his right eye.
And he's even more unnerved by hearing this than hearing about looking at his wrist. He's like, that's not possible.
No, I forgot to ask. I forgot to ask them if like where they were going or what they were doing. But yeah, totally given. He was with another person, but I couldn't really tell.
What did the other person look like?
I don't know. Short. He had his hood up. I couldn't see.
Okay. Well, I don't know who that would be, but he's just sitting there.
You know him? You know him? I thought so. Oh my gosh, it was something just so familiar.
I don't know if it's just too much of a coincidence, but it cannot be him. I saw him die. It cannot possibly be too.
I mean, my whole clan saw me die, but here I am, so anything's possible.
Well, it sounds like you just described my brother.
Oh.
But I am very, very... as far as I know, he's been dead for over 4 years. You can't... It had to have been somebody else. It's too much of a coincidence, but it couldn't possibly be him. I mean, the name is different, but it can't be him. I mean, this is probably the most unnerved you've probably ever seen Blood. Probably freaking the fuck out right now in his own head. And it's just got to be somebody. I mean, we were rare. There weren't a whole lot of pure black or pure white, and you didn't. I mean, obviously you didn't see them all, and you've never seen me without my gear on. But we were kind of rare to be a solid color like that. But it can't be him.
Mostly because I haven't gotten to roll the entire game. Insight check.
I love it.
On Blood. That's a 20.
That's a 20.
He's telling you the full fucking truth. He's like, he is freaked the fuck out. He's like, it cannot possibly be him, is what he's thinking. As far as he know, is his brother's dead. And so he's kind of having an existential crisis right now.
I imagine you guys are now sitting in one of the little private booths to one side of the inn. I can pull up some maps for you guys. I'm sure you remember.
I haven't gotten a roll. I'm sorry.
I know. Oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna grab hold of one of Blood's hands. Do you want me? I can maybe send this person an animal messenger from you if you want. I can send him a message and he
Wait,
can maybe...
like you sent the little bird the other day?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is that... Can you send more than one of those out? Because is that little bird even there yet? Didn't you say it was going to take a little bit of... Oh,
Well, it's not a I don't have to concentrate on it.
I don't even know what I would have you say.
Well, the offer's open, so you have time to think about it.
I mean, did he say where he was going? Is he staying in town?
I forgot to ask. He said he had never been this far north.
Well, I mean...
But I don't know if he was being honest. I was a little like... I was too busy trying to figure out why he seemed so familiar.
Well, that would... I mean, if it is him, that would certainly be a lie, but I can understand if he's changing his name, he's going to change some other things. Because we'd most definitely be further north than this. Last time I saw him, we were much further north. I mean, that's kind of what led to me being banished from my village, is where we were and what happened.
I'm gonna go ahead and throw up a map for you here, real quick, yo. So just for the reference, right there on the left, there's El Mythica.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
where
I didn't see the map pop up.
It didn't pop up for you?
Not for me. Maybe I'm not
How
special
about now? Did it show up now?
No? Anybody else seeing it?
I'm seeing it.
Yeah, I got it.
Well, son of a bitch, man.
How about now? Did it pop up for you now?
No, I'll just... Which map
okay,
is it?
It's Conclave Map 2.
Okay. Yeah, I'll pull it up.
I got it. Right. If you refresh the page, it helps.
Yeah, I might have to do that. That's probably why it's being a dick. Because I did look at all the map pages, and now it wouldn't open for me, so
probably.
I'll pull it up.
But there is Il Mythica on the left. That's the Elven nation that you're familiar with. There's Ranivika Keep, which is to the south of where you guys currently are, Port Valletta.
Ranivika Keep, is that the one that's on the map that shows where the Druid Grove is?
Yes. That is, yes.
Okay, so yeah, so El Mythica is south of where we are right now.
Yes, El Mythica is south of where you are right now.
Yeah.
And isn't that where you last saw your brother?
Yeah, we were in Il Mythica.
So technically, you are north of that right now.
Yeah. Oh, we're north of that. Okay.
Yes, you're north of that.
The Elvins was even north of.
No,
yeah.
The elves are south, kind of connected to the Margarden Federation a little bit.
I suppose it's possible. Maybe this is the furthest he's ever been, but it's.
Well, Blood, I hate to bring it up, but we recently thought Belmont was dead. Could somebody have saved his ass?
But why would the elves save him? We were breaking into their country. We were not supposed to be there. Why do you think that forest is so thick? Have you ever seen it?
I've been walking around with what looks like a gray elf for quite some time, and I still can't figure out why he does anything he does.
Well, that forest, if you ever try and approach it, it seems almost like it's a solid wall. When you walk amongst the trees, it's like there's some kind of magic that starts confusing you. You get lost. You lose track of time. There is no daylight. You cannot see because the trees are so thick. And so that's why people never get through the forest.
Mind if I ask what y'all were doing?
I guess have I ever mentioned they're his theories?
Not before, you haven't, no.
Yeah.
What's one of the crazy conspiracy theory guys?
I guess, you know what? I guess it probably could be. Amongst the Tabaxi, there are legends. that there are settlements inside the Elven Nation. There are ruins. Even they will admit they are ruins. But we believe that those are ancient Tabaxi settlements. Now, I have told you, you were there when I said to Mr. Groverjaw that I believe the dreamer brought us here as slaves. Well, our legends, we don't have any written information, but our oral legends say that we lived in the Elven Kingdom before we were banished. That's what we were trying to find. We wanted proof to give our people validation. He was the zealot.
Was it just you and your brother? You didn't take like an army of Tabaxi?
Well, it's too dangerous to take too many people. There was a small group. We knew that we had to go in with smaller numbers to avoid being detected. And we were inside. We got through the forest. But we weren't in the settlement for very long before the elves showed up. And it was as we were leaving, we were running away, that my brother, the noble knight that he was, Mr. Self-Righteous, told me to keep going while he faced off with them. And as I was getting out of the forest, I saw him fall. It can't be him. It's not possible.
Well, I can't say that I understand elf magic or elf logic for that matter, but perhaps they did something to him magically.
I mean, if they did, that just makes it even worse, because then that means I abandoned my brother. My family disowned me because, well, I don't know if you can't tell, but I'm not exactly the, I don't know, the most play well with others type. And my brother was the Golden Knight. I mean, he was pure white. I mean, come on. Pure white is always going to seem better than pure black. It's just a matter of perspective.
I believe that's a nod towards you, Eloise.
What?
Yes, Miss. Yes, Miss Eloise. He's not going to, see, now you're going to say, I mean, if he can blush, I mean, he's like, maybe. But, yeah, he was always, he was the zealot. I mean,
All
I always
can tell you
believe.
for sure is that's not the fact for humans.
I always believed in the legends, but he was the real zealot. He's the one that convinced me to go. And then I failed him, and well, that was a defining moment of my life. But I can't. I mean, if it's him, I'm more ashamed now than ever. So I hope it was him, and I also don't.
So you want to find him, but you don't?
I don't know. I don't know what I would say. I mean, what do you say to somebody that you left to die?
Sorry.
I mean, he was my twin brother. I mean, I'm older by like 2 minutes, but we are still twins.
Well, what if I say something like, so that way you can still think about like what you actually want to say to him, so that it's meaningful. But like, I can send him a message, and I'll say like, "Hi, it's Eloise. We met at the apothecary today. I remembered why you seem so familiar. Do you know Bloodstone? He misses you."
Maybe not mention my maybe not mention my name.
I love how we've got our own gesture. This is so great.
I'm maybe a little more organized in gesture. I counted my words first. Thank you.
I would think perhaps let's. I mean, don't mention me by name, because I mean, even if it's not him, my name has a small bit of renown amongst Tabaxi. I was banished for a reason.
Okay, well, is there a nickname that you and your brother used for each other? That he would know that maybe
Fuck me.
wouldn't ring any bells?
I
for
can come
anyone
up with one. I can think about that off stream. I didn't think about that kind of thing.
I mean,
Liam and
if
Blood.
you're twins, you don't. I don't know.
Liam and Blood. What languages do the two of you speak?
Well, I mean, Tabaxi, but it's obviously not a chosen language. You can pick Elvish and Common.
You speak Elvish? Okay.
Yeah.
Common, Dwarvish, Sylvan, Undercommon.
Okay, so when Eloise said his name, can you say his name again, Eloise? Do you remember it?
Who?
The white Tabaxi.
Almad? Yeah.
Yeah.
I said it. I wrote it down. It's right here.
Blood, you do speak Elven. You've studied the written language your entire life, and it's a word you recognize. It's an Elven word for nothing. And that just seems weird to you. That he would give his name as the Elven word for nothing.
Well, sometimes, what if, he doesn't remember?
Well, I wish Mr. Veil would hear. He knows some magic-y stuff. Maybe he would have an answer. Is there a way that if they brought him back, like we had Belmont brought back, would he not remember anything about his life? I don't know the magic.
Well, from
Magic
what you
isn't
told
perfect.
me, Mr. Belmont remembered his wife and us just fine.
Yeah, but I remember them saying something about the spirit had to be willing to come back. But he still remembered everything up until, the bees. But I mean, why would he? I mean, and that. I mean, the way I always envision, this is just joke now, not Blood. The way I always envision is that Tabaxi is like a derivative of Elvish. Is because I envisioned that they're really from that part of the world and they were kicked out. And so it's kind of like, with Latin turned into, fucking Italian, Spanish, German.
I dig it.
French. And so really maybe the word kind of has some meaning, like maybe it's kind of like in Tabaxi, but a little different. But, I mean, if they were to say nothing, I mean, like an empty vessel, like they brought him back and they created him.
Magic isn't always perfect. And people are hard. Or complicated. Magic likes to be simple.
And, in fact, it was actually just a joke.
Maybe you could send a message to him and see if he's still
he used
in
the Elven
city.
word for nothing because she asked him. She wanted to know his name.
Set up some kind of meeting
so he just said, "I'm nothing."
Okay, so what?
But then
what
we
do
read a
you
lot
want me to
into
say
it,
instead?
and I love it.
I mean, it's no coincidence that the elves just fucking left their city, their country, for the first time in how many? Didn't they say a couple hundred years? And he shows up, like, right after, at the same time. This creature. I don't know. What would be something you think? I mean, you talked to him. He seemed friendly. I mean, what did you talk about besides that? You said you thought you seemed familiar, but other than that, what happened?
Just nothing. Him and his friend bought 6 healing potions, and then as they were walking out, I asked him if we had met before because I didn't realize that the similarity between you and him. That's why he seemed familiar. So I just asked him if maybe we had met and maybe I forgot because sometimes I forget things. But he said no, and then he said it was unlikely because he was from the south, and then I asked him his name.
And did you say it was a human that was with him, or could you not tell his features?
Couldn't really see.
And is that probably why you fucking asked if she spoke, what language she spoke? Because spoke something in Elvish, son of a bitch. I don't know what to say.
Okay, well, what
He's
if I
looking at
just
everybody.
change the second half of the message? Instead of saying, do you know blood from a stone? He misses you. What if I just say, like,
Are you pooping?
Oh my god.
why would I ask that?
You pooping?
That's pretty awful
Totally
personal.
out of character. Totally out of character. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Maybe ask him, just say, this is Eloise from the potion shop the other day.
Well,
I was, it's like, I was curious, if you were still in the city, maybe you would like to meet him, and
I remember why you seem so familiar. Do you think we could meet up and talk about it? I don't know.
actually something like that might work.
Yeah?
Yeah, go with that.
See if he wants a drink.
And he's just kind of like probably fight. I mean, if the table wasn't there, he'd just be slouched over with his fucking like head almost between his knees and his hand. He's just like freaking the fuck out.
And yeah,
right now.
I imagine you sitting there on that
you
little
look
stool.
Like you could use a drink yourself right about now.
And I'm sure by now someone has come over to ask for drink orders. You can absolutely order whatever you'd like to drink.
I made a vow that day that I wasn't going to drink again. Because it was my drinking that I think kind of caused us to get caught. So I can't.
Well, if this is your brother, then that vow is now null and void. Am I incorrect in that assumption?
I would like to know it's my brother first. And then I can take a celebratory drink if he'll have me.
I'll get you.
But yeah, I mean, right now I don't think he would. I mean, he's probably not gonna even drink water. He's just so out of his fucking gourd. This is not possible.
You know what these guys are mumbling about? I'll have a tankard of ale.
Make that too, por favor.
And a tankard of ale will run each of you 2 silver.
Got it.
You're noticing the prices are a little higher than it was the first time you were there. No doubt because this is in very close to the port and is quite full with people. But still, it's 2 silver.
Okay. So, I'll send a message saying, it's Eloise. We met at the apothecary today. Remember why you seem so familiar? I'm still in Valena. Can we meet to chat over drinks?
Okay.
Yes, no, maybe so.
Do you have message or is it animal message?
It's animal messenger.
Okay. Hopefully he's.
But is that a good?
No, yeah,
good
that's
amount?
fine. That'll work.
Good thing. I think.
Yeah.
I think it's still 25 words.
Hey, go ahead and pop the spell up in chat for us.
Just don't send Tweety Bird.
Did it pop up?
Just because he's a cat doesn't mean he's gonna eat the fucking bird.
There it goes.
There we go.
Besides, Blood's the one that looks like Sylvester. Okay.
Okay, so you choose
Up to 25 words.
Yep, up to 25 words. And you specify a location which you must have visited and a recipient who matches a general description. So while you do know what he looks like, you don't know where you're going to be sending it to.
I mean, I could just ask to check around the city to see if he's
Yeah.
still in the port.
Yeah, because you are saying specify a location, which would be Port Valena, and then you have to describe him. So theoretically, it could possibly ferret him out. So yeah, within the confines of the spell, that would theoretically work, and it is 25 words.
Yeah. Here, I'll post the message so you can count it. I counted it's 25.
Okay.
Double check me.
So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yep, 25 looks good. The messenger speaks only to a creature matching the description you give. If the messenger doesn't reach it, it is lost. So you can get it, but it does not take a message back, does it?
No.
Okay.
No, it says it just returns to where you cast the spell. So I guess the animal would return there.
It would
To the
return to
inn.
me. It would turn
Yeah.
to the tavern. So, I
But
mean, a
it's-
person
yeah.
could technically follow it, but
I mean, technically, he knows you from the apothecary, and you're going to be there anyway.
yep. For the next 2 days.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So is this what you're wanting to do?
Go for it.
I'm gonna step outside for a quick second to see if I can find a bird.
Okay. Go ahead and make a perception check for me. Can they beat a 12? 22. Yeah, with a 22, you do spot a seagull perched and not far away on
Good, an asshole bird to bug him.
on top of a barrel full of dead fish and pecking away at the dead fish. You walk over to it and you cast your spell, Animal Messenger, at second level, I guess.
Yeah, at its base level.
Okay, and you give it the message to send, and you give them a general description of the tabaxi you saw, and tell them to search around Port Valletta. It goes flying off into the air after your spell is cast, and you watch it for a minute begin to circle up above, in head, going in a spiral out around, seemingly looking for this individual. Yeah, you watch for about 4 or 5 minutes, content that it's probably doing its bidding, and then you head back inside.
I'm telling you, Apollyon, Master Valkyr might be even stronger than you. It's something you might want to check out.
Well, I'll accept any challenge.
And as you say this, you hear, "Oh, you're looking for a challenge, are ya?" And all of you kind of look out from your booth in the little side room to see a big burly dwarf with a long, bright, bushy beard standing there leaning against an axe that's kind of put down into the ground, into the floor. He's just leaning there and he says, "If you're looking for a challenge, you should come check out the fighting pits. We accept all types who are willing to fight for coin."
Oh yeah, I'd love to toss you around sometime.
"Yeah, I bet you would, big boy." He just kind of spits and chuckles a little bit.
Double meaning there.
"If you're looking for a fight, come by the Smiling Donkey. We do pit fighting there every evening. Always welcome, happy to have some new blood."
All right, I might just do that.
The dwarf gives you a wink and a nod like, "Yeah, what's up, bro?" And goes stomping off towards the bar, ordering himself a drink in a loud voice.
I blow him some kisses.
I mean, he's his back's too. He's just more focused on getting a drink and trying to find more people. You can actually hear him yelling a very similar pitch to another group of dwarves sitting at a table near the edge of the bar. But that seems like a good place to end for this evening. It is now 10 o'clock. So great session, everybody. That was a lot of fun. You guys learned a little bit of things. Some of you got some spells and items you wanted. Overall, I think you accomplished quite a bit. So start thinking about what you want to do. You have a few more days of downtime before your magical items are finished. Just kind of think about what you want to do from here on out for the next few days, and we will pick things up next week. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay. So, from all of us here at Random Rhapsody, I am Matthew Dawson, Scruffy Wanderer on the Twitter. If you enjoyed our episode tonight, please follow us and subscribe. And we hope to see you here next week. So, until then, thank you very much. We appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next Monday. Have a good evening.
And remember, don't be a jabroni. Play D&D.
Damn right. Damn right. Thanks, everybody, and have a good evening.